Well, we may have been on a poor league run since you were last here, but that doesn't matter when it comes to today's episode. Due to a fortunate draw, we have been winning in the FA Cup, and now we've got a trip to Wembley for an FA Cup semi-final. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 23 of Built in Bristol with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Chelsea in the league, one of only two teams in the Premier League title race. And then we've got Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final. A trip to Wembley after a fortunate run of games and a very fortunate quarter-final actually. As the draw had opened up prior to the quarters, there were not many of the big boys left, as you can see. And we have made it through to face a semi-final with Brighton, which will not be easy, but is winnable. If you're looking forward to that and seeing how we get on, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. James Bree is out for the season with a broken ankle, but we are going from strength to strength. You saw deadline day with me last time. You know the qualities that we've got in the squad. And look at Brentford, who Masengo left to join. They might be going down. If we go and have a look at the squad quickly, there's no real change on the superstars front. We've got the two big boys out of contract this year in Pring and Scott. Neither of them willing to sign new deals yet. And George Tanner has now decided he's not unhappy and will sign a new deal, but wants to be the highest paid player at the club, just because Bree's got injured and he's played a few decent games. So another one we're going to be losing in the summer, because that certainly isn't going to be happening. But let's have a look at what has happened on the pitch since you were last with me, because the simple story is, bar the two top boys we played last time out, it's been draws galore, and in the cup we've been nicking wings, pretty unconvincingly I would say. You were here for the 2-2 draw against Norwich as we reached the crucial 40-point mark, and we then won 1-0 away at Preston with a late Troy Parrott goal in the cup. Against Spurs away from home it was frustrating. We were 2-0 up after 7 minutes and it stayed that way till 80. Then the Northern Irish superstar from my Builder Nation save, Jamie Donnelly, put us to the sword, followed by a Richarlison equaliser. Was backed up by a 0-0 draw at home to Leicester. Again, a bit frustrating, but in the grand scheme of things, they're all good results and points. A 3-1 win against Norwich in the cup as Alex Scott scored a good opener. Bieref came off the bench to get a brace late on, and we got through to the quarterfinals with that win. Against Villa, a 0-0 draw in the league. Against City, almost comeback of the century. We were 3 down after 78 minutes and it stayed that way until the final 2 plus stoppage time. And Miramon got a brace and we scared them. We almost got a point. We did though beat Bournemouth on penalties in the FA Cup in what was a pretty dismal performance overall. We did the job, we scored all of our spot kicks and it was young players too, which I was impressed with. And Nathan Baxter made a couple of big saves to send us on our way back to the National Stadium. The first time we will have played there since the playoff final last year. We followed it up with a 1-0 defeat at Arsenal, and I would imagine we're going to struggle today. But if we can get a win in a Brighton game, I will exchange that for a defeat in every single one for the rest of this season, because to play in an FA Cup final would be spectacular. It leaves us in the middle of the table. We're still in the top half, actually level on points with Brighton, who we face next week. No threat of relegation, we're absolutely flying. No chance of Europe either now, to be fair, but a great season. And for a first one in the Premier League, you would certainly take that. Let's go and move through to the fixtures, get the Chelsea game out of the way. We'll have a look at the youth intake too in between the matches. But for now, let's get some football on the board. A very good Chelsea team. A very difficult side to beat, I'm sure. But let's see what we can put out today, because Cameron Pring is coming back for his first start since he's been out injured about a month and a half ago. We want to build him up, get him ready for the Cup semi, because Norrington Davis hasn't been brilliant. The rest of it, I think, is pretty familiar and as expected. Of course, Tanner is playing in place of Bree, who is out for the rest of the season, and we're trying to get youngsters in. We're rotating the 3 strikers. We're giving Bellingham appearances off the bench, and it's all working pretty well. So this is the 11 in full we've gone for. We've got Nathan Baxter between the sticks with a back 3 of Montero, Bajcetic and Williams. We've got Tanner and Pring the wing backs with Bula in between them. Scott and Miramon the midfield too. Alex Scott out of form a little bit again, but today he's supporting Surridge and Bieref. Can they produce the goals when it matters most? If not, Troy Parrott's there on the bench. Let's go and get through to the first game today. Not much beyond the matchday squad that we're interested in involving. So let's go and submit our team tonight and see if we can avoid injuries, which is the most crucial bit against Chelsea. Well, it seems like Graham Potter got it right in this universe. He's still in a job and we're on the ball early doors. A long ball to Surridge, knocked down to Bieref and Miramon. Alex Scott turns on it. He's got Tanner out wide and he's got a chance to cross. It's a good ball in for Surridge as well. And just off the top of the crossbar and over. A really interesting start because on the counter with that big direct pass, we looked a little bit of a threat. But I would imagine Chelsea will overrun us before long as Chalobah throws into Havertz. He cuts in from the right. Chance to shoot. Beats 3 first. And it goes wide for a goal kick. I thought it deflected in truth. But that was a little bit too easy. Wolves 1-0 with City. Haaland in the goals again. And Reece Williams now on the yellow for us, which is a little bit of a worry. Going to encourage the lads because they've played quite well here. Confidence is fragile because officially 5 league games without a win. But 2 defeats narrowly against City and Arsenal and 3 draws against established sides is not a bad effort, is it? And as we head towards half-time here, it's very much the same story as Surridge will have to come off injured. Very tight games. We don't often lose a game by more than 1 or 2 goals. And we don't often win a game by more than 1 or 2 goals. It's basically the perfect storm, but it could go wrong next year. As Parrott replaces Surridge, Bieref will switch sides. Let's get into the second half. If we can cling on for 0-0, I would be thrilled. Well, it's not looking good because just 6 minutes into the second half is a Chelsea corner. Fofana with a free header at the front post. It's really poor miss in truth. To not even hit the target is criminal. And with an hour on the clock, well, not looking great, is it? Maybe we bring Cornick on. He scored a goal in midweek for them in real life. Maybe he's the answer. As Havertz gets it back to Fofana and Kante. Sterling picks it up. Goes left to Cucurella. Great work back from Troy Parrott there in fairness. Finds George Tanner again. Bulat in the holding role to Bieref. Big switcher play to Pring. Can we nick one on the counter? Bieref again. Forced backwards by Kante, who did really well. Bulat finds Scott though, and he's given it away. Been really poor in recent weeks, though Bulat's nicked it back. Gets in behind. He's got Parrott making a run, who I think is offside. VAR will check it. It's a really good finish, which normally means it is offside, because if that was on, he was hitting the post or spooning it wide. Goal disallowed. There you go. It seemed too good to be true. It was too good to be true. 0-0, but we're getting in behind, which is an interesting fact. Let's have a look at the substitutes because we've got to give a break to Pring. He's not supposed to do more than 75, so Norrington Davis on there. I'm not sure what the situation is with yellow cards, so I'm just going to try and be sensible. We're going to bring off Bajcetic, I think, for Sheld and Montero switching sides. Miramon or Scott off, maybe both. We'll bring on Almeida and we'll bring on Bellingham. And then up front, I could make one more. Oh no, we had the injury, didn't we? So that is it for the game. Let's get into the last quarter, see if we can keep it tight. I know we've not had a shot on target by the offside goal, but let's be fair, Chelsea haven't had a huge amount here. As Almeida finds Bieref and Bellingham to Parrott. Bellingham again picks it up. It's good football as we go right towards Tanner. Just overhit for him, but tried to unlock the door. As Kante will play out with Fofana. Waiting for a mistake back here, but it's not coming. They get out pretty well. Havertz switches it to Chalobah. Carries downfield for Gabby. Chance to run into space. Beats his man. Gets into the box. I sense a penalty. Oh, it's a cross goal. It's poor. Poor defending. It's out to Kovacic. And we get away with it. It stays 0-0 with 20 to go. But we cannot defend like that too much if we want to get this point. We'll give the lads another dose of encouragement because the morale's really struggling today. And you can see we're picking up yellow cards where we're chasing, we're getting dragged into areas. And of course, where we've not got the extra sub due to injury. As Chilwell brings it out down the left. They're strengthening their side off the bench here. Gabby in, but Reece Williams does well. Montero back to him again and Sheld the sub. Out of defence to Bellingham, the youngster, under loads of pressure from 3 or 4. But we play out of it pretty well there with Bulat. And Almeida, he gives it away, the more experienced man. Kovacic gets in behind to Otavio. A ball across the box, falls for Havertz. Such a poor goal. Did that say 28th goal of the season as well? That's some effort. But what a poor goal to give away. It bobbled around in the 6-yard box. There were ample opportunities to clear it. And it's going to cost us the game. Another very narrow defeat against the top sides. We're doing well, but not well enough. And I'm afraid that's how it's going to end, isn't it? It is 28 for the season for Havertz, 17 in the league as well. And with 4 minutes added time up, it is a 1-0 defeat yet again, this time at home to Chelsea. We've got to find an answer before the FA Cup next week. Let's hope we got Surridge off in time. Let's hope none of the yellows lead to a suspension. And let's just hope at Wembley we'll be inspired again. Back in a moment for the FA Cup semi-final. Well, we're back for fitness test time, but the incentive for winning this FA Cup semi-final has just got a whole lot bigger. Because if you have a look at yesterday's game, Leicester beat Manchester City on penalties. Leicester are below us in the league. We have shown that we can get a result against them this year. We could be in with a chance of European football and winning an FA Cup if we can get through Brighton. That is a very big if, because they went above us in the league. They're still in Europe, I think. Yep, the Conference League semi-final. And look at their form, it's remarkable. Meanwhile, in a world where I say morale's a little bit iffy in FM, we've just lost narrowly against 3 of the best sides in world football. Prior to that, we'd been unbeaten for 2 months. And I've just had to hold a crisis meeting about confidence, form. We're getting criticised by the fans for our tactics. And we're now getting told that everything's awful. I mean, there's got to be a little bit of perspective in terms of expectations in FM, hasn't there? Because 11th in the Premier League after promotion with Bristol City, and 2 months unbeaten, followed by 3 very narrow defeats against City, Arsenal and Chelsea, is not a disaster in anyone's world. Not even the most pessimistic fans' world is that a disaster. There's an FA Cup semi-final here now. I've done everything I can to pick up the boys, but I did promise that on the way through, I would have a look at our youth intake just to give us a little bit of calm before the storm. And if we have a look at the players that have come through this year, it's not great, let's be honest. I mean, thankfully, it's not an intake we're ever going to benefit from, so I'd rather the first one be great in FM24. The pick of the bunch is probably Dale Ball. He's a left midfielder, which will never work in our tactic, but can play in the middle as well. He's alright at 16, not a superstar. Matt Parsons, a centre midfielder who's not bad. Good determination, but not the best physically. Declan Devine on the right wing, or a striker. Probably a striker, isn't he? He's a good finisher and he's got a bit of pace. And then Daryl Griffin, a right back. He is pretty decent as well, but no stamina, despite exceptional natural fitness. And I've just seen his positioning. No. Not doing that with any defender. Naturally, he's a natural centre-half as well. We've also got a Spaniard, a Portuguese, a Liberian, an Irish, a Northern Irish. There's all sorts coming through here. But none of them are going to impact this save. So let's get through the fixtures. Brighton versus Bristol City for a place in the FA Cup final against Leicester. It's absolutely huge. You can see the players that are being recommended to be brought in. I'm not bringing in Harry Darling or Ted Mengi or Harry Cornick. What I will do, though, is make some very slight adjustments to the bench as needed. So I'll start in 11. I've got no problems with. It's probably the best we've got available. Yes, we could choose between the strikers, but we're splitting hairs if we're being honest. I am going to go cautious and take off Mark Sykes for Max O'Leary, just so we've got a sub-goalkeeper if needed. I know we've then not got someone who can play right wing back on the bench, but Alex Scott can cover there if need be, and we'd be unfortunate if both of them got injured. So let's get through to it with the same 11 as last week. We played all right against Chelsea. We competed. Let's hope we do it today. Through to the FA Cup semi-final we go. Let's hope this is as good as our last trip to Wembley. If it is, there's an FA Cup final to finish. Well, here we are as Roberto De Zerbi side are hopefully focusing on a European semi-final. They've made 3 changes. They've brought the likes of Jonas Vindin. They've added Chris Smalling, Danielle Mallon. They've got quality across the squad. And of course, in this universe, they've kept the likes of McAllister and Sanchez too. Mitoma and Ferguson among the stars still there, and a very bizarre central midfield lineup. Lucas Torreira and Alex Crow, not what I expected to see. So let's ask the lads to enjoy themselves. It's what we've done all week. Try to take the pressure off, try to make the performance a little bit easier, and try to lift spirits after this supposed crisis that we've managed to create at Bristol City. Here is the National Stadium. Come on, you won here last time. You've just got to deliver on a big stage today. No win in 5 for us. 5 wins in 5 for Brighton. Let's see how this works out. We are going to need a miracle. As early doors, Miramont is flicking a ball clear. But Brighton have got us penned in with Torreira and Matoma. Very un-Brighton-like signings those, as Krau releases Matoma again into the box, deflects to Baxter. I'm also, of course, as many of you regulars will know, absolutely petrified of the big game red card curse. I'm just hoping Brighton will get the inflicted wounds from it rather than us. As Surridge flicks back to Miramon, ball over the top to Bieref. Is he onside? Oh, he's dragged a bit too wide. He was on as well. Oh, that was the chance. 6 minutes gone. And we should really be 1-0 up. It's not to be. But the first big chance goes to Bristol City. Let's hope we can build on that. Well, approaching the half an hour mark, it's been a quiet half. And we come back as a free kick was being swung into the box from the corner. And Reece Williams has headed it in. He does what he always does. Such a big goal threat, and it was so crucial to get him back just for that. Bulat swings the ball in. We saw it just as it was being delivered. And Reece Williams knocks it in at the back stick. We lead at Wembley again. Bieref gets it to Tanner on the right. He beats his man. I thought we might get a swipe and a red card there. Not to be, as McAllister plays it out. Header away from Pring. Good work from him. Bulat up to Bieref. Dunk heads away. Tanner beats Kelly. He's got the chance to cross. There's men in the middle, but he's forced backwards. Finds Miramon, and he loses possession. Mitoma can break to Buonanotte. They've got support. Look how many they've flown forward. There's 8 players in attack already. Mitoma down the left into the box. How have we ended up on the defensive from this? Lloyd Kelly to the byline. Chance to cross it. There's options in the middle. Ferguson's one. And it's 1-1. It looked for the life of that highlight like we were going to get a chance. And then they broke on us at speed. And the fact they committed virtually the whole team. I think just the 2 centre-halves were back. You've got to applaud the boldness as Sanchez chips out from a goal kick. Crow knocks it back for Dunk. They're inviting us in. In fairness, they're playing the De Zerbi way. But Tanner's nicked it briefly. Crow loses it again. Back to Dunk at centre-half and into Torreira. In midfield again, they've got a man over on the right. Torreira forced inside though to Crow and McAllister. Ferguson beats his man. It's a lovely turn. Gets it wide to Kelly. Of course, we managed Brighton at the end of FM22. We know how good they are. As Miramon clears it away. Can we nick the lead before half-time? Bieref away down the right. Lovely feet. He's improving all the time and he's beaten 2. Gone on a mazy run. Shot straight at Sanchez. Thought he was going to do the old Ryan Giggs semi-final goal there. Brilliant run. It's 1-1 at the break. We're still well in this game. We've had the better of it according to the stats, but that don't count for nothing. It's 1-1 and Brighton are back on top after that late first half goal. Let's hope they're not as good in the FA Cup as we made them in that save, as Kelly gives the ball away to Bieref, but they get it back to Matoma. Into Ferguson. Williams does well. The clearance is a little bit panicky, a little bit rushed, and a little bit reckless as they get it in 1-on-1. Great challenge, Montero. Falls for Matoma, who should have scored. Keeper had committed. There was an empty goal there. And Brighton have come out for the second half, a very different team. They look better, they look fitter. I'm going to swap Bieref with Surridge and bring on Joy Parrott. I'm going to take off Tanner at right wing back, put Scott out there. And in midfield, go for Joby Bellingham, or no, we'll go for Almeida. Let's get the experience on. We've got 20 minutes of normal time remaining. And it's a Brighton and Hove Albion corner, which Bieref heads away. Only as far as Matoma. Scott chases him down. Does really well in fairness. Clears it downfield towards Parrott as well. He holds the ball up well for Bieref, who's just pipped by Torreira. And Webster will get it into Crow. Brighton will start again. Been a tale of 2 halves this game, but Bieref nicks it. Parrott plays a 1-2 with him. Into Andre Almeida, the sub. Andre Almeida scores. He gets in behind and puts us 2-1 up. The miracles are happening, and Bieref in that little deeper role, he finds the pass as well. Now the pressure is on. We've got 10 minutes to go. I've probably got to take Pring off because he's not got much football under his belt. He'll be replaced by Norrington Davis. Miramon is struggling as well. I'm going to get Demane or Bellingham. Bellingham on for him. Almeida switching sides. It leaves us 1 sub as need be, and we can make a time-wasting one at the end. At what point do I do the dirty and put everything back as far as possible? It won't be long, let me tell you that. As Smalling gets the ball in defence to sub for Van Heck. Big hoof forward towards Mallon. Headed away by Williams and Almeida. Wake up, son. I know he scored the goal, but come on, he's not played well on the ball. Bulat gets away though, he's been brilliant. Find Alex Scott on the right and Bajcetic. Can you believe that Scott and Pring want to walk away from this? Norrington Davis with a through ball, which is intercepted, but he wins it back. It's into Troy Parrott via BRF. And it's straight to Sanchez. That was a great chance. He had to put the game beyond doubt there. Now I'm afraid I'm going to do it. Wing-backs on defend. I can't chuck them into a back five because I don't have the players to do so, or do I? This is a big risk because if I bring on Mengi and it fails, I haven't got another alternative. And we'll have to stick with it for extra time, but we'll do it. Support duty for Bellingham. Time waste all the time. Slow the pace down. Be more disciplined. You all know the drill. There is going to be no attacking intent from this football team. We do not intend to get forward. We do not intend to make it hard. We're going to let Brighton have the ball and we're going to trust our instincts at the back. We are into 4 minutes of added on time. And it should be a Wembley final for the FA Cup against Leicester City. Bristol City have done it. All of that work in the week has paid off. It's another fortunate narrow victory in the FA Cup, but we just about edged it. And without our striker scoring again, Bristol City will have an FA Cup final. What a finish to the season that's going to be. Let's go and get over to the schedule. Confirm that we are playing against Leicester City for a chance to get into Europe and win a major trophy. Should it be the final game of the season? It is. Brentford and Leicester will be the next episode. In fact, we might just do Leicester in the end of season review. The only reason Brentford tempts me is because Masengo's there and he might get relegated that day. But who on earth would have thought this? Remember, the first half of our promotion season, we were battling the sack. We didn't win any games. We were in a relegation zone till about November. And now look at us. An FA Cup final, a mid-table Premier League finish. I don't see all the fans criticising me this week. Funny that, isn't it? If you enjoyed that one and want to stay up to date, see how the final goes, what a fairy tale it's turning into, then please do put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to stay up to date with everything. Harry Cornick's coming on and winning the FA Cup. I'm telling you my prediction now. We've got an opportunity to make this a stylish finish to the save. I hope you'll come and join me to find out. In the meantime, we'll be back with the Builder Nation tomorrow. Exciting times there as well. In addition to that, there's championship predictions over on the football podcast, including for every Bristol City game. And there's also the Twitch channel for regular live streams. So come and follow us over there ahead of FM24. Thank you very much for being with me as always though. Your support is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you back here next time for the grand finale to the season. And my word, is it a proper grand finale? The FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium.